Hello and welcome to the garden of vegan. So I'm surrounded by fruit trees here that aren't yet ripe, but soon will be. On this channel, I help people lose weight and regain their health. So as you can see, I'm lean, and I've just had a big bowl of rice, and I'm not bloated. Okay, so there's one food that I promote. So I promote a vegan lifestyle to help lose weight and regain health. And as you can see, I'm always lean, all the way from Christmas now to the height of summer here in the UK, first day of 30 degrees. And I promote a high sugar diet that's low in fat, low in protein, and that is to combat this. The standard American or standard Western diet, which is high in fat and high in animal protein, and the most common chronic disease, the biggest killer in the West that affects most people, is heart disease because of a high fat diet. So specifically in this video, I'm going to show why I do not recommend a fruitarian vegan lifestyle. So this video is going to be for everyone. So I've tried different ways of eating over the years, and on this channel I promote a lifestyle or foods that you can eat, that everyone can eat, and therefore, hello if you're new to veganism, good. And essentially I don't really care what it is that brought you, whether it's for environmental ethics or morals or for your own health. The main thing is you're here, you're vegan, and you're going to eat as a vegan. But I see people who they supposedly fail as a vegan, and this is, I'm going to show you, firstly I'm going to say why fruitarian is not the way, and then I'm going to show you what you should be eating that everyone can be eating, and therefore there's no confusion. So if you're coming to veganism and you don't know what to eat, this is what you can eat, this is what everyone can eat, and therefore you don't need to be scared and worried about, well, what should I eat? And I understand that maybe if a fruitarian is watching it and they are fine, you're able to eat as a fruitarian, then yeah, carry on if you want to. But this is for most people who they see different ways of eating vegan, like a fruitarian, and all the other different ways like plant-based, whole food, and yeah, there's a number of different ways that people on social media are telling you to eat vegan. Well, this is what I would call the high sugar performance lifestyle that is normal and can be done by everyone. Everyone can eat this way. So I'm normal, just like you, just like everyone. And this is the approach that I've eaten now for years, and specifically focuses on having enough energy to feel good every day. So I'll firstly go over why I don't recommend fruitarian as a vegan lifestyle or diet, and then I'll show you what I eat, okay? So I've got a selection of fruits here. You've even got some dates here. So firstly, I'll just list off a bunch of points and then I'll get on to what I recommend. So firstly, if you are eating fruitarian, then no, you're not going to lack any of the minerals and vitamins that you need. You can get all of them. And you're not going to lack all of the protein and fat that you need. However, I believe that you can't get enough of what is the most vital macronutrient, which is sugar, from fruit. So I tried the lifestyle that I was creating, which is focused on having enough energy, essentially unlimited energy, So for me, I combine having fun moving your body. Some might call it exercise. So I love cycling because it gives you a true sense of freedom and adventure that nothing else does in life. So not the car. The car is making you fat and sick, okay? And cycling will help you get fit and lean, as well as the foods that I recommend. So I don't think you can actually get enough sugar. So for example, these bananas here, in order to get enough sugar on the lifestyle that I promote, you would have to eat essentially more bananas than is physically possible to stomach. So you would have to be eating so much fruit that essentially you wouldn't be able to eat enough in order to keep up with the demands for enough sugar. So I've got a watermelon here and a mango, some dates, an apple and some fruit, and there's so many other fruits available, but essentially these are sort of the widest available ones you can find in the supermarket. So that's probably one of the main points, is you just can't get enough sugar through the simple sugars that fruit provides. And I'm going to show you the other main source of sugar that I recommend in order to get enough during your day. Okay. So secondly, the fruitarian diet, therefore, in order to get enough energy on the lifestyle I promote, which is a high performance, unlimited energy vegan lifestyle, you have to then buy so much fruit that your food bill is going to be incredibly expensive for most people. So again, this is for most people. So if you're coming across from your standard way of eating, standard American diet, and you look at your food bill, you're probably going to be spending even more because you need to get enough fruit in order to get enough sugar, enough glucose, so that you always feel full of energy, and therefore you don't need to rely on stimulants like caffeine. So you're not reliant on drugs to power you through your day. You should be reliant on sugar. So it's very expensive. Even if you go for, I would say, the cheapest fruits like banana, you would have to eat so many of them that it would just become unpleasant. Because I personally am not a massive fan of the taste of the Cavendish banana, which is what most people have available at the supermarket. So if you were to move across to watermelon and mangoes, you would have to be eating, as I say, consuming a lot in order to keep up with the demands that your body needs to be full of energy, unlimited energy. So that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people fail, is because they don't get enough energy, and therefore they say the vegan diet caused them to feel terrible, that's the main thing, is just not getting enough energy. So the fruitarian diet, you will get the macronutrients, the fats and the proteins that you need, like omega fats, and you will get the protein that you need, and you will get the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that you need. But this is one of the main things I find that the reason why people fail is they might complain, well, I can't afford it, or they don't get enough energy that they need every day. So another reason why I don't recommend the fruitarian diet is, and yeah, I would say you shouldn't care about what other people think of you, but a lot of the time, if you're eating like the fruitarian diet, it can come across as a bit extreme, which personally I don't think it is, but for a lot of people it just is too extreme a change from the standard diet, the standard way of eating. And also, when you maybe go to like a party or you go meet people and you still want to keep eating the fruitarian diet, again, people will they'll say things about you, they'll say you look really weird, you look odd, and yeah, it can be, again, it can seem a restrictive diet or an extreme diet for other people, and therefore the people around you might block you on social media at least, and not want to have anything to do with you if it gets that bad. But say that's more other people, but that's just, I say the world that we live in is anything different to the status quo of what most people eat seems extreme, even though, in my opinion, the normal way people eat, the standard American diet or the standard Western diet, to me, I think is extreme. So all of these animal products, these processed animal products, I think are extreme because they're extremely bad for your health. So I'm going to show you the foods that I then put into the diet to, essentially, it's still fruit. I still recommend fruit, but I also recommend foods like white table sugar. I'll get into that in a moment. Foods like white rice. So there you go. So one reason why people, they like the fruitarian diet is because they say, well, any processed food is bad, Well, this is processed food, white rice. So I think there's a bit of confusion with the whole processed foods versus whole foods. So I don't promote a whole foods plant-based diet because, again, I think the whole notion or the idea of processed food is bad, and all processed food is bad, is not a good way and sustainable way to look at your meal plans. So the bad processed foods are the animal products, like the hot dog, for example. Yes, these processed foods are destroying your health and therefore shouldn't be eaten. So these are the processed animal foods. And I also don't recommend necessarily the processed vegan foods. So like the processed vegan hot dog or the processed vegan burger as a staple that you should eat every day. Whereas foods like white rice, where you just take the husk away and you're not processing it with chemicals and like creating a food in people's minds. And white rice essentially is one of the oldest foods on the planet and has been eaten by more human beings than any other food in history. Therefore it is a well truly tested food. And as we see, it's not lots of people suffering health problems where they eat this, such as rural China. But if we compare the health to the people who live in rural China to the West, people are suffering because they're not eating foods like this, okay? Does that make sense, doesn't it? So the reason why I recommend white rice is because it's a starch, and therefore it can give you amazing energy when you combine it with fruit, okay? So this fills the gap that I think a fruitarian diet gives you when you're looking for unlimited energy. So this gives you energy, the fruitarian diet gives you energy, but it doesn't give you unlimited energy. The unlimited energy is what you get when you combine it with other foods, other staple foods, like starches, for example, like white rice. So there's another reason why I don't recommend the fruitarian diet, is because it can be difficult to get ripe fruit all year round, whereas white rice, they grow it all year round. The season is great for rice, whereas some fruits, it can be difficult to source good, reliable, ripe fruit that you might want all year. And quite often in the supermarkets, there is a very limited range of fruit available, Whereas in the world, if you have the ability to perhaps live, so you'd have to, there's another reason, you'd have to move to, again financially it might be restrictive, you have to move to that part of the world, to the tropics, where fruit is available all year round and it's abundant. And yeah, supermarkets, they have a very limited range of fruit, whereas if you go to the rest of the world, there is thousands and thousands of different species and varieties of fruit. Like bananas, there are other species, other varieties of banana other than the Cavendish banana that are more sweet and nicer, taste nicer. The reason why we have bananas that look like this is because people judge fruit by their eyes rather than their taste. So it's just the Cavendish banana looks nice on the shell, but it's not really, I don't think, particularly nice tasting fruit. If you have the sweeter varieties, which are available, but they don't sell because they look funny shaped and they're not quite as attractive as the Cavendish. So I might have some more processed food, so some soy sauce for taste with, so I've got some low salt variety there, with the white rice. And again, soy sauce and white rice is one of the oldest foods, human foods, not nature's food like surrounding me here, but human food. So soy sauce is thousands of years old, as is the consumption of white rice. And seemingly what is been called the devil nowadays, white table sugar. So that's right, I would recommend white table sugar, and I'd have this while I'm out enjoying myself on my bike, on the freedom machine, on my daily dose of adventure and freedom. I would make up, depending on the temperature, I'd make it up with sugar water, so sugar in water, and I'd have on average 100 grams of sugar an hour while I'm exercising. But I don't recommend exercise, I recommend having fun while moving your body. Okay, so that might be dancing or cycling. And I might also have some vegan gummy sweets like these, Walter Worm. And again, that would be to make it up to 100 grams of sugar an hour. And I'd also have some other processed foods like pasta, and I'd have that with a spicy tomato sauce that I'd make up with some herbs and spices and chili. And I'd also have some fruit juice during the day with breakfast, lunch, tea, and just as a snack during the day. And I personally, this is one of my favourite food stuffs, or foods if you want to call it that. Favourite drink to have during the day is fruit juice. Orange juice, apple juice, mango juice, whatever juice it is you want. And if there isn't good fruit available, ripe fruit available, as a last resort or second best, I'd recommend some canned fruit. So canned fruit can be pretty good. And then I'd also have foods like cornflakes, for example, in the evening, perhaps as the last thing I'd eat, and I'd have that with oatmeal, and just for taste, to make it nice and sweet and taste nice, I'd sprinkle some white table sugar on there. So as you can see, the foods that I combine the fruitarian diet with are not scary. They're not the unhealthy processed animal foods that are causing ill health, and they're not scary to your wallet. Okay, and these foods, they can be eaten while other people are with you, like pasta and rice. All you have to do is take out perhaps the animal from the meal, like you can have rice and you don't need to add a dead body to it. You can just have the rice, it has all the protein and the fat and the sugar that you need. And this way you don't feel tired, you don't run out of energy. It's cheaper more sustainable for most people. However, yes, if you do want to eat the fruitarian diet, then you can, because that means you're vegan. But as I say, if you do eat the fruitarian diet and you come to the point after however long it is that you follow the fruitarian diet and you're getting really lean, so the fruitarian diet will get you really lean, just as lean as I am. But if you ever start feeling like you need coffee because you're getting tired or maybe chronically fatigued, then don't quit being vegan. It wasn't being vegan that made you tired, that in your mind destroyed your health. It's because you weren't getting enough sugar. Okay, so if you're under-sugared, under-carbed, you'll start feeling tired, and then that will have a cascade of unhealthy feeling and unhealth and disease, a feeling of disease, when what you need to do is introduce starches and some processed foods like white rice and white table sugar, which white table sugar is good because it's not made in a lab. It's just made from 2 different species usually, which is sugar beet, which is a vegetable, and then from sugar cane, which is a grass. So just like the animals that we eat, I don't eat, but the Western world and a lot of people do in the world, like sheep graze on grass, so they're eating essentially a high carb, low fat, low protein diet. And yeah, so you don't need to worry about sugar causing you ill health. It's fat free, okay? Sugar is fat free, okay? So the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And yes, on this series, so like and subscribe if this helps you perhaps improve your health. And maybe, yeah, if you're thinking I'm just going to stick to fruitarian diet, hell or high water, then maybe this might change your mind. Maybe, maybe not, it's up to you. But yeah, this way of eating that I show keeps me lean, and I've been eating like this for years. And also as a positive health consequence of eating like this, the high sugar, low fat, low protein diet, you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. So I've got a series on the channel showing how a high sugar diet does not cause diabetes, and I used a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor, for 2 weeks, and I showed what foods I ate and what my blood glucose levels were hour by hour live for 2 weeks, showing that I'm not diabetic. I didn't become diabetic during the 2 weeks, and you'll be able to see how, using a graph, so there's a graph, it's the Freestyle Labour 3 Plus, there's a graph of my glucose every day for 2 weeks, and I also showed my blood glucose levels live while I was eating, and I'm not diabetic. I'm not type 2 diabetic, and I'm not type 1 diabetic. And you can go and look at that, and again, if you know someone who is suffering from diabetes, you'll be able to look at that, and perhaps you'll be able to break free from the shackles of the healthcare system, the prison of the healthcare system, which is telling you that sugar is making you fat and diabetic, when in fact it's fat that's making you fat and diabetic. So sugar reverses diabetes, it reverses being overweight, being over fat. So the fat you eat is the fat you wear. So if you don't want to look like the Michelin man or the Michelin woman, then you need to cut the fat and cut the protein and start eating like this. So fruit and starches and some processed foods, they'll give you the energy to power you through your day. So that's the main thing I promote on this channel, is that so many people feel in a state of disease because they just don't consume enough sugar. Okay, So the problem in the Western world is not too much sugar, it's too little, and it's too much fat and too much protein. Okay, so most people don't eat like the way I have just promoted. So if millions of people right now, their health is declining, there's this epidemic of chronic diseases like high blood pressure and diabetes and heart disease and obesity, being over fat, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, and so many others, like problems with the digestive tract as well, and disordered ways of thinking, then that can lead to what we see today. And if most people are not eating like this, therefore the millions of people who are sick and fat and their health is declining, it's not being caused by a vegan lifestyle based on good health, is it? So you shouldn't be worried about eating like this, which is what most people are not eating like. You should be worried about this, which is what most people are eating. So just because most people do something doesn't mean it's right, okay? So step back from the cliff edge and of disease and ill health, and just take a moment to think, do I care about my own health? Am I worth changing my lifestyle? Am I worth it? And I would say yes, because also for me, I'm vegan because I don't believe that it's worth killing all the animals that we do to live the lives that we do in order to just live our lives, and then when we die, what was the point of all of the bloodshed for nothing? Okay, so I don't think humans are more special than any other species on the planet. Our technology doesn't make us special, it just makes us, I think, more stupid and disconnected from the reality that we're living in. Okay, so if you want to be vegan, you can be vegan for me, not for me, for the planet, and for what I would say, which is morals and ethics. But yeah, if you want to do it for health, either way, it means that animals aren't being tortured and killed for our pleasure. Okay, so I enjoy eating like this because it gives me the energy in order to feel good every day, and I'm choosing to be lean and healthy with my life and feel good about it. So like and subscribe, and check out other videos on the channel where I spread the lifestyle of health. Okay, and thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. And if there's any other points about the fruitarian diet which I've forgotten, which I probably have, then spam it in the comments saying how stupid I am. And yeah, I tried the fruitarian style way of eating, and for the lifestyle I promote, which is I want to promote a diet where I help people to lose weight and stay lean and feel full of energy and unlimited energy, the fruitarian diet just doesn't work for most people, and it wouldn't work for most people. It works well in a combination with starches and other processed foods, other vegan foods. Okay, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And join me again in the garden of vegan. Bye.